immersive mixed reality is now here thanks to Microsoft and Windows. And also here is Eric from Acer to tell us about Acer's new mixed reality headset. Welcome, Eric.
Hey, thanks. Good to be here.
Yeah, so can you start off by telling us what you do at Acer?
Yeah, certainly. I've got a long title, Senior Product Marketing and Brand Manager. To simplify that, it means I'm a geek, I can talk.
Good.
So I get to come here to do things like this.
Right on. I mean, so we like talking. That's great. I mean, jumping right into that talking, I think one of the big questions, we're talking about marketing and branding, what is mixed reality? We've been talking about VR for a while. This is a different name, so it must be something different.
Well, and it is something different than the mixed reality of yesteryear when Oculus was calling mixed reality. So what is the new mixed reality?
So it's definitely a refresh. It's not entirely virtual reality. It's not augmented reality. It's somewhere in between, but it leans more heavily towards virtual reality. One of the things that really differentiates is the fact that it's simple and easy to set up because the cameras on the front allow for mapping the room or the space that you're in without having to put sensors all around. That's kind of where it gets a little bit away from the virtual reality. In the future, potentially be able to use those cameras on the front of the headset to input things like an augmented reality type of situation.
Excellent. And so that, because VR has been out for a while in sort of consumers' hands, we've been playing with numerous examples.
People know what it is,
Yeah, I mean, there seems to be generally a higher consumer awareness now, as we're all like kind of waiting to see what kind of content is out. How is something like this, for that consumer who's considering this, how is something like this going to differ from like an Oculus or a Vive?
Well, absolutely. The thing that's going to stand out the most is how simple and easy it is to set up. So it only takes a couple minutes. There are not massive sensor arrays that need to be placed around the room or drilled and placed into the wall or ceiling. There's no stands that you're going to trip over. It's a couple of cables that connect to your PC after you've had your latest Windows update, and you're good to go.
And what is the difference in terms of, say, from an Oculus or a Vive as far as field of view, resolution?
So we're looking at the resolution on all of the Windows Mixed Reality headsets at 2880 by 1440. It's got two lenses in there. The field of view is between 95 degrees and 110. There's a couple little tricks that can be done either with the display itself. There's one brand that's a little bit different. But more importantly, by the connection to the PC. If you're using HDMI 1.4 versus 2.0, you get a different experience. So that presents in the field of view a little bit, but more importantly with the refresh rate. So those are some of the things that are a little bit different. And as I talk about, all of the headsets having these things, it's an ecosystem. It's something to remember. So what's the difference between the existing VR products and now the mixed reality products? Well, we have this ecosystem, so everything is working together and interchangeable, and it should help grow the whole segment.
Because we're looking at other companies that are putting out products built to a similar spec. So it's not just an Oculus solution for Oculus. Microsoft is helping to guide this platform as a way that some of these pieces can be a bit more interchangeable.
Yeah, they're bringing it together with all of their partners, Acer being one of the launch partners. We had development kits that were out there. They ship them to developers to create content to bring to market. Microsoft is also working with Steam VR to bring the content from that platform over to mixed reality, so this is really cool.
And so Steam VR isn't there yet, though?
No.
He's good at it.
No.
So you were mentioning, sorry, because I want to follow up on the HDMI.
Go for it. Get it.
So you were talking about if you're on one standard of HDMI, it's a different experience. Could you maybe talk about what some of the hardware requirements might be like? Because I had a great experience with this where previous, like especially dev kit VR solutions, we've joked about this before. I'm a very sensitive individual when it comes to this kind of stuff. I'm very delicate. How does that impact the experience someone's likely to have? And I think a lot of people are curious, does this need the same kind of requirements as something like an HTC Vive or
you
an
hear
Oculus?
that this can run a VR experience on integrated graphics, and that's amazing to you.
So that's one of the really exciting things about this platform is the fact that it will work with lower powered systems. Not to say that they're not great or anything, but the spec level, the threshold has come down. And so integrated graphics now are supported and can give you that experience. So it'll give you the experience at a lower refresh rate at 60 hertz. And talking about your experience with dev kits, and we've talked about that before, you really, if you're one of those people, and everybody's different, that is sensitive to the environment, you want the faster refresh rate. You want
Right.
it'll reduce some of that nausea or dizziness that you might have in the VR experience. So if you're running a system with integrated graphics, you're going to be dropping to the lower frame rate. You're still going to have a great experience, but you could be, if you're susceptible to it, potentially hitting into some of those nauseous moments. If you have the discrete graphics, you have the powerful GeForce GTX 1050 or Ti or all the way up to Titan X and things like that.
This beautiful machine here that I'm kind of getting distracted by.
And you connect with that HDMI 2.0 connector. Now you're up at 90 hertz, and it's much more smooth, and you're not going to have any problems.
Now, on the sort of integrated graphics, that we're sort of now talking about a minimum refresh rate, right? Because back in the glory days of gaming, like, oh yeah, I can totally get 150 frames per second in this one cutscene.
Right.
If I don't move the mouse at all, you can hit this maximum. Is there sort of a better guarantee now that we've standardized this sort of computing power at the Intel chipset level that we can say reasonably with some certainty that that's what you're going to get?
Yeah, it's funny. There's been no unifying message, even from Microsoft or Intel or my competitors or Acer, about what that is. But essentially, it is a standard performance experience that you're going to get based on the hardware you have. So we're probably looking at an i5 processor, Intel Core i5. Got to get that right for branding purposes.
Nicely done.
Yeah. And obviously going up from there, and there are a lot of variables, though. There's a crazy, wacky chart that kind of describes what works and what doesn't. But for people that want to know if this works, there's actually a very simple way to test. So Microsoft has a tool that will go in and test your hardware, and very simply with a little green check mark or a red X say, yes, your system passes for this, 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 and this, and you're good to go. That way you know before you even buy the headset that your system's ready to go.
Support it.
That's super easy. I love that so much. And so then you know you have the hardware in place. And I think with previous headsets, with Vive, with Oculus, people have the perception that the hardware is there, it's ready, but the content is maybe where the experience overall is lagging behind. So what apps and games are out there right now for Windows Mixed Reality that you might recommend?
Wow. So predominantly right now we're looking at games. So Super Hot. Amazing. We
were talking about this off camera. It's so good.
It's one of the best things, and Microsoft knows that early adopters, people that like technology, are going to be playing games, but they want to open this up, and Acer, as one of their launch partners, wants to as well, to make this accessible to a wider audience. So what we've seen is with the development kits going out there and close partnerships with the developers, content is on the way that will support beyond games. It'll be much more rich experience and really great for other segments that people often don't think about. So education, travel, home makeovers, and will this sofa fit in my room, or do I like that color or not? Do I paint the wall? And being able to do all that really quick and easy.
Well, and there did seem to be, we're talking about Microsoft, so obviously they've got sort of a wide spread on different experiences, from gaming to then more office and productivity, but there does seem to be a lot of HoloLens DNA built into the idea of this, especially like you were saying, the ability to kind of map your room without setting up sensors. We were playing, when we were doing our demos, we were playing in a really confined space, and I don't know that I could have set up that kind of hardware for something that was more sensors in your room, location tracking. Have there been discussions, especially what Acer might be bringing to the table on something like education? Have you guys been having those kinds of conversations about what to bring to schools or to partners or to other developers?
This is a really good question. It opens up a lot of different ways we can go with this, but I know we're limited on time. One of the things I want to point out was the sensors in the space and the fact that it has the cameras on the front to map the room and know where you are. It makes it really easy to set up two types of experiences. One where you're standing and walking around in the environment, and the other where you're sitting. And I think about education, students are going to probably be sitting, they're not walking around. So it's very simple to put the headset on, map the space you're going to use as you're seated, and then get into it. And Acer has a great education program. We have a lot of great partners.
Nice.
We're #1 in the nation with Chromebooks into education. We're really knocking it out of the park. So we've got great partners there, and then we're working with content developers now to match what the schools are looking for with the developer's ability to deliver. Things like, a student at high school needs to go look at a campus for college. Do I want to
Right.
go there? Or are they going to fly to all these campuses around the country, or
Right.
are they going to put a headset on and get an experience of what it's like on
I can't
campus?
wait. I can't wait for that day where I can just hire a little remote control robot with a 360 camera to go driving down. Like, I want to go to the Vatican.
Yeah, field trips all over the place.
So we had a chance to play. I mean, obviously, with the discussion on education, and I have a kid, so I'm very concerned about that kind of stuff. But we didn't spend any time trying educational apps.
No, we didn't. We played games.
We played games, so we should probably throw to some of that footage so we can talk about that. One of the things I really want to bring up is most of my experiences on VR have been mobile. Putting a phone in a cradle, and I'm good for about 10 minutes. First of all, the phone starts getting really hot because it's overdriving that hardware. But I was gaming on both the Ghostbusters demo and Super Hot, and I think I went a good half hour before I even was conscious of the time, with no ill effect. I don't know that I've had a first-person experience like that.
Yeah, that's
playing in
really
VR.
that's really amazing for you, Juan. That's
She
but
knows that's
no,
really amazing
that's
for you,
really
Juan.
great. As someone who very rarely gets motion sickness from virtual reality, I feel for you. But I mean, I had a great experience with this. I think Super Hot's an awesome game. So when we talk about the content that's available, more things where the game itself can be improved via this experience are very, very cool. So I feel like everybody out there is feeling a little jealous, having just watched us play, and is thinking this sounds great. But the big question is, how much is this headset, and is it available now?
Well, as part of Newegg now, I'm glad you asked.
Oh.
You can get a great deal on the Acer hardware designed to run this mixed reality, to power all of your mixed reality fantasies. And you actually brought, the hardware that we're going to have on special today.
So yeah, of course, we've got the headset itself, and one of the reasons you were able to play for so long without any ill effects is it's very light. It's the lightest of the Windows Mixed Reality headsets.
Nice.
Very soft foam, and then the visor itself will lift up. So when you need to go pop in and out of your experience in mixed reality and then use the keyboard or take care of a crying kid, it's easy to do.
It's such a small thing, but I'm so used to that over-the-head strap phone thing that you have to completely remove. Oh, I've got to do this. I got an alert on my phone while I'm playing my favorite gunslinger game.
And it was very simple with glasses.
Yes.
As well, which was really nice.
So obviously the headset's available for sale, and the Aspire Nitro 5 gaming laptop, 15.6-inch screen, full HD, Intel Core i5 processor. We're going with the GeForce GTX 1050 here.
Nice.
So it's more than enough power to pair perfectly with this. You're going to have a great experience. And
Awesome.
sleek aluminum design on that chassis.
We were talking about that. It's like I like these sort of car-inspired gaming laptops.
Might be hard to catch on the camera, but yeah, nice lines.
Awesome. And so the headset is available now, yeah?
It's in stock, ready to go.
Excellent.
Awesome.